Commodity champions, and a controversy has really erupted after FM Arun Jaitley tweeted that Karnataka has sent only 60,000 names to the centre so far for the PM-Kisan scheme. So Karnataka government has disputed that the statement and has said that it has already updated 3 lakh names on the national portal. Hear out Karnataka's Agriculture Minister Shiv Shankar Reddy on the progress made by the state regarding PM-Kisan list submission.
According to our statistics, they have got about 59 lakh small and marginal farmers. So far, nearly 9 lakh farmers have given self-declaration and been registered so far. And out of that, they have updated 3 lakh farmers' applications with all the necessary documents to central portal as on today. And it's unfortunate, hardly 17 accounts have been, they were limited amount to only 17 accounts. They're absolutely cooperative. We have given all the data needed. Till 6 lakh applications are under process for due verification of Aadhaar and other bank accounts.
All right, so that's the Karnataka Agriculture Minister saying that they have actually uploaded 3 lakh nominations or names there. 6 lakh are under verification, but they only have seen 17 come in so far when it comes to the benefit of the PM-Kisan Samman Nidhi Yojana there. Remember, Karnataka is one of the states. The others really are West Bengal and Madhya Pradesh, which are yet to receive any of those PM-Kisan funds. The states that actually have done very well and have seen the best of benefits actually come in for the farmers have been Uttar Pradesh. That is the state that has been leading with the maximum number of farmers receiving those payments. If you look at the UP data that is on your screens, we have seen the maximum number there. 80 lakh have been the eligible farmers. That have been sent are around 4,000 as of now. The other states that have actually done quite well in uploading the names and which have been the best of beneficiaries are Andhra Pradesh, which is the second lead state with nearly 32 lakh farmers receiving the PM-Kisan payment. Gujarat is the third lead state where we have seen 25.28 lakh farmers receiving the PM-Kisan payment. Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Haryana are the other states which actually have received the better part of the PM-Kisan. And as I mentioned earlier, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka and West Bengal are some of the states which actually are lagging far behind. And the total number that we have in hand right now is the 2.3 crore farmers who have received payments so far. Remember, this is out of the 12 crore farmers that the government is looking to target by the end of this month. Siraj Hussain, former Agriculture Secretary to the Government of India, now joins me on the show to talk further about that. Mr. Hussain, hi, welcome. The data is pretty out now, and we do see those updates coming in almost on a daily basis because as states are updating the names, numbers, etc. on the portal, that data pretty much is available real time. But what is your sense, first of all, on the final number itself? We will, of course, come on to the states part as well. Out of 12 crores, 2.3 crores has been done. We are perhaps just a couple of weeks away from the final deadline that the government itself had set out. What is your sense on where we stand right now?
I think coverage of 2.3 crore farmers in such a short period of time is a great achievement for the government, and it will surely be used during the election campaign, especially in major states of UP, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, etc. Also, I find that my colleagues, ex-colleagues in the UP cadre of IAS have done a very good job because in a very short period of time, they have been able to collate the records of land holdings, we call it khatoni in UP, with the bank accounts and other details of various beneficiaries. Even the Aadhaar number has been linked, even though Government of India didn't make it mandatory. So all this work has been done by the Revenue Department of UP government in collaboration with the Agriculture Department in a very short period of time. And some 75 lakh farmers in UP have received the money according to a report in Business Line. You have said that 80 lakhs. So well done UP, and I only hope that other states will also do it fast enough.
Let's also go state by state. As I was mentioning earlier, you of course have applauded the way UP has done its job. As you said, Revenue Department and the Agriculture Ministry have come together. There are now statements, there are now clarifications which also have come in from the MP government saying that they are doing the farm loan waiver work right now, and is perhaps one of the reasons that they still are collating or perhaps looking at the list for the PM-Kisan scheme there. 6 million land records, 15 million bank-linked records is what they have in hand right now. How would you look at a state like MP? I mean, of course, it is an opposition state, perhaps. It has been under flak, as has been the case with other Congress-led states here. How do you look at an MP or a West Bengal or a Karnataka for that matter?
See, it is very clear that several states do not want to share this data with the central government because they may be thinking that the credit for this will then go to the central government. And they are right in assuming that. I wrote an article in Mint last week in which I said very clearly that in this scheme there is no share of the state government. This very government, Modi government, in 2015-16 had changed the funding pattern of a large number of schemes when the allocation on the recommendation of the 14th Finance Commission was increased from 32% to 42%. So in several schemes, I'll give you an example. In case of the accelerated irrigation benefit project, the share of the central government used to be 75% earlier. It was reduced to 60% and the state share was increased to 40%. Similarly, in case of several other schemes, the state share was increased to 40%. Now, in this case, in PM-Kisan, for political reasons, if I may say so, it was decided that the states will not have any share. So, it is very clear that the states see that if the money is actually transferred, then all the credit will be taken by the central government. So, that is perhaps explaining the reluctance of several states in sharing the data with the center. I am sure they have the data, but they don't want to share it.
Okay. How are you also looking at some of the states like, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Telangana, Haryana? These states also have, these states are some of the leading states for PM-Kisan. We have seen big numbers come in for many of these states as well. Again, the same thing really. How soon, how quick would you see the records actually being collated? Where do you see an exact number standing? Because to the various people that we speak to, 12 crores reaching out as a final number, while of course that may be a target, but how far or close do you see the government actually reaching out to the set out target here?
Actually, the time given to the states to conduct verification of farmers was really very short. And I have written it earlier, I have also said it on television that there is no way the revenue machinery can verify in such a short period of time whether a person is really deserving. In fact, even the central guidelines have the exclusion criteria which only excludes income tax payers and certain other categories. So there is a very strong likelihood that people, small and marginal farmers who are into other businesses but who are earning more than the income tax limit but not actually paying income tax, are likely to benefit. I am sure that there are going to be large number of inclusion errors. Many undeserving people will get it, but that was inevitable because of paucity of time. So in such a short period of time, the state governments which are ruled by the BJP will go whole hog in giving the data so that their farmers can get the money and they can claim the credit during the election campaign. And other states, I am sure, are facing a great dilemma as to how to proceed, because if they don't give the money, then they will be blamed.
The time that was given to the states by the government really was up till 25th of Feb is what the state governments were supposed to provide information on such farmers to the central government, the uplinking. As you said, the time is really short. I'm just trying to drive home a number, Mr. Hussain, of how many farmers will we actually see eventually getting benefit, the right kind of people for that matter. I mean, that's a grey area, as you said. Some who shouldn't be getting benefit may also get the number. Some farmers who actually should be getting it may not get it. And we, of course, haven't even started talking about the landless and the labor class when it comes to rural India. But what is the number that you see actually being achieved? We have seen 2 crores being done in the first 2 weeks itself. There's still a couple of weeks to go. We understand that the states would want to upload numbers. At least the central government ruled states here. Are we going to see a double the number from where we stand? More than that, do you think 50-60% of the target audience or target members actually might see the money or the benefit going through?
I think it will. The number will also depend on what view the Election Commission takes on transfer of the second installment. So, if the Election Commission rules that the second installment cannot be transferred after the declaration of the elections, then probably the number will remain around the current number 2 crores, or it may go up by another 50 lakhs or even a crore. So, we may reach about 3 crores. However, if Election Commission takes a view that it does not violate the transfer of second installment, does not violate the Election Code of Conduct, then I think the number may reach at least 6-7 crores, because at least in BJP ruled states, we will see a very strong urge to cover as many people as possible. Now, coming to the overall number in the country, out of 12.5 crore farmers, I would imagine that at least 2 crores, that is my guess, that at least 1.5 to 2 crores would not be found eligible. However, since the whole exercise is being done in a great hurry to meet the deadline of the elections, I do not know whether any due diligence and detailed effort will be made to identify people who are not deserving.
This is, of course, one part of it, and we've seen a couple of cabinet meetings go through where plenty has been pushed out for various sectors, whether it has been sugar, whether it has been ethanol, fertilizer, and of course other whole host of things that we have seen come across in last couple of cabinet meetings, with the deadline that we might see the EC actually announcing dates perhaps today or the next week at the max. What has been your sense? How much of that really would be helpful for the agriculture sector specifically, and what more do we really require? Because as we've been conversing, it's the Rabi arrivals that would start coming in now. This also is an election time where the government could do, has done, had to do, perhaps has been done by now. How are we looking at the agriculture sector as it stands?
The news reports which we get from the markets suggest that for most of the agricultural commodities, the prices are going to be below MSP. For a variety of reasons, the stocking of agricultural commodities is still not taking place, and as a result of that, the farmers are not expected to realize MSP for most crops. Also, in case of sugar, even though the government has gone out of the way to help the sugar industry, some of those decisions are very sound decisions. For example, interest subvention for ethanol, that will help to some extent, but I do not see the sugar areas, the areas of sugarcane coming down drastically. So many of these things may play out during the election campaign. However, the dominant theme at this point of time is security. So I do not know whether the agricultural issues which were center stage before Pulwama took place will actually have a very meaningful bearing on the election campaign. That is the sense I get sitting in Delhi and talking to people in UP and other states.
So, in that sense, how do you look at the various steps and the policies changes and the reforms that the government has done in agriculture sector? Because if we are still talking about farmers not getting an MSP, how much is this 2,000 rupees per quarter really going to, in 3 tranches in a year, really going to help the farmers? Is it really going to plug that gap? Is what I'm trying to derive here really?
No, it is very clear that it will not fill up the gap for every farmer. However, as I keep mentioning, the average income of a farmer in UP, according to the NAFIS survey of NABARD, was 6,600 rupees per month. So, this 2,000 rupees, is not a small amount for somebody who is earning just about 6,000 rupees in a month. In that sense, it is some help. However, if somebody is a sugarcane farmer and his dues of 2 lakhs have still not been paid, then this 2,000 rupees is not a very significant amount. So for a Punjab farmer, this is not a very large amount. So it depends where you are. For poor farmers, small and marginal farmers in rain-fed areas, in Jharkhand, in Bihar, the parts of West Bengal, Odisha, etc., it is not an insignificant amount. Now, how the farmers, will be impacted in voting, I really don't know.
Last couple of questions really, Mr. Hussain, and this one really comes in on the other various schemes that we have been talking about when it comes to the agriculture sector overall, and this really has to do with the input costs, etc. So if we're talking about the MSP prices, most of the crops not able to meet the MSP prices, the input cost continues to be on the higher side. The initial estimates do show that the monsoon this time around has more than 50% probability of it being a normal monsoon. So those couple of things are fine. The international commodity prices also seems to be stabilizing now with the kind of initial reports that we are seeing. Overall, how does 2019 then look to you? It is an election year, yes. But the global inflation seems to be getting slightly positive. The weather is making the right noises here. So would you say in that sense the other peripheral fundamentals or points to take into consideration seem to be getting slightly better?
See, in the last 6 months, the prices of cotton, sugar and guar have been good, and as a result of that, some sugar has been exported. The government of India also started subsidizing the export of sugar. Also, in case of cotton, the exports have picked up. So, after the last Kharif, the cotton prices did not fall below MSP. That is good news. Guar prices have been good. And castor prices are actually very high because of lower production due to drought in most of Gujarat, which is the major producer of castor. So, for certain commodities, the farmers are going to realize better prices, but for several other commodities, the prices continue to be low. And depending on the monsoon, we will see how will the farmers' income be impacted. Because this 50% probability of Instalment, I think is too soon to predict what will be the behavior of monsoon. But if monsoon is good, then the farmers will be able to sow their Kharif crop in time, and several states are giving their own direct investment support. Telangana has announced it. Andhra Pradesh is giving 9,000 rupees in addition to 6,000 rupees from pm-kisan. Jharkhand has announced it. I am sure several other states are also going to announce that. So that will partly compensate for increase in input cost. However, the reform process has to resume after the government takes over, and I would like to see the marketing reforms to be top priority on any government, because we haven't seen, even though ENAM has been initiated by the government, but we haven't really seen a major initiative to reform the markets, make them more transparent, integrate them with the national ENAM portal, etc. So that is something which has still not been done.
Well, yes, something's done. As you said, 2.3 crore farmers covered in a short span of time is a good one to applaud. But yes, lots still plenty pending, desired, and this is going to be an important year, especially for this sector, and would need to watch on what government really pushes through further here. Mr. Hussain, as always, pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for making it. Champions, we're talking diamonds now, and this is an important year for that too. We understand from De Beers that for last 3 years, their brand has been growing by 50% in the Indian markets. This is way higher than what they have been doing in the global markets. To talk further about that, we have with us Stephen Luzier, who's Executive Vice President of Marketing at the De Beers Group. Mr. Luzier, hi, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, how has the year 2018 been for you? Because the precious metal prices like gold and silver in the global markets did not do so well. Palladium, of course, has been outperforming. We've seen record highs now as well. But how has been that for the diamond industry in the previous year?
You know, it was a good year for Forevermark, to be honest, all over the world. We grew again last year, up around 6% over the year before. But I think what's amazing is that India was the driver for us of growth. We were extraordinarily successful last year in India and saw growth, upwards of 50% on the year before, and something we've repeated now 6 years in a row. So exceptionally good year for Forevermark in India.
All right, that's nice to hear. Exceptionally good year for diamonds in India for 2018, even with what we've been going through in the diamond industry for India in last couple of years. But Stephen, tell me about what your forecasts are for 2019. Do you think De Beers or Forevermark will be able to continue with that kind of growth for 2019 too?
When we look at the overall situation in India, for the last 2-3 years, it hasn't been an easy time for the jewelry industry with events like demonetization and then new regulations around tax impacting on the sentiment in the sector. But despite all of that environment, it has been no barrier to the growth for Forevermark. And what we're seeing, I think, is a shift in consumption toward products and brands like Forevermark that can provide real trust and confidence to the consumer. So we see our partners, our retail partners across India becoming more and more committed to the brand and actually taking India well up the rankings for us in importance. So, interestingly, last year when we look at India, it represents about 10% of all of our jewelry partners around the world are in India. But extraordinarily, over a quarter of the volume of all Forevermark diamonds were sold in India. So India is really, as we would say in the UK, batting above its weight. It's a really strong contributor to our Forevermark picture.
Talking further about India, Stephen, what kind of challenges do you see for the jewelry industry in the Indian markets? Because we've seen the consumption growth continue to decline for last couple of years now. How has that been for diamonds? When you say 50% growth in the last year as well, where do you see that coming from?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things about the world, I think, today is that it's a volatile and unpredictable place anywhere in the world. And, whether it's discussions between China and the US over trade, which is impacting clearly sentiment, whether it's Brexit in the UK, it's hard to predict the world. India, though, I can't be anything but extraordinarily pleased with the success that we've seen in sales of our brand. And as a result, we're very bullish again for 2019. We're focusing very much on sales in this key period, which does coincide with the election. It makes it a little bit harder to get your marketing message across in a crowded space. But nonetheless, we've found that our message resonates so well with consumers now that there's no reason why we can't continue to see the very strong double-digit growth that we've now seen 6 years in a row for the Indian market, all through various ups and downs in the macroeconomic and regulatory environment.
Stephen, also comment on the new marketing opportunities, really. How are you looking at this year now? Are there any new campaigns that you are looking to do, especially this being an election year in the Indian markets? How are you putting out your strategies, campaignings, new associations, etc. in India now?
Yeah, when we look at India, we see a host of opportunities for growing demand and expanding our brand. I mean, first, of course, we need to continue to focus on those core messages around what the brand stands for in terms of creating trust and confidence in buying diamonds. We think that's been one of the things that's propelled our brand forward in this environment. Also, we think there's a big opportunity, not only in India, worldwide, but in India as well, to develop the market for women buying diamonds for themselves. And particularly timely this week, where we're celebrating the International Day of Women coming in a couple of days. But it is an era where this new market opportunity is there to be developed. And we're very keen on that, and we have programs in place. And I guess the third area, always of interest now, is the development of what we call our omni-channel marketing tools. And the marketing world is changing significantly at this particular point in time as these new tools become ever more powerful in bringing consumers exactly the information that they want at the time that they want it. And I think that's key to powering our brand in the past and will be key to powering our brand in the future.
Stephen, one final question, and there has been this growing market of lab-grown diamonds, and I don't know how you would look at the information, awareness, etc. in the Indian markets, but how do you look at the two markets, the natural-grown diamonds and the natural diamonds and the lab-grown diamonds?
Yeah, I mean, I think that probably the lab-grown has gotten more press than they have sales. It's not significant in the industry today here in India. But I think it's funny, the question I always think of when I hear the debate between natural and lab-grown is to think, oh, they're not actually the same product to begin with. Let's be clear that a natural diamond is an inherent, naturally made, billion-year-old miracle of nature with an inherent rarity and as a result an inherent preciousness and thus an inherent and real lasting value. That's one product. The lab-grown doesn't have any of those particular characteristics. It's not rare, it's not valuable. It does sparkle, and that's quite nice, but very much it will find its own market, I think completely distinct from the diamond, natural diamond, precious stone market. So, at De Beers, we're very focused on the natural business. It's core to us, and we think that the properties that a natural diamond offers is very much what the Indian consumer, who's particularly interested in the issue of value, lasting value that comes only with natural gemstones, and that our market and desire for natural diamonds will far outlive the man-made version.
That point is well taken. Well, yes, this is an uncertain market when it comes to that. But thank you so much, Stephen. And your point is well taken that nearly 1 lakh diamond pieces was sold in India in last year. And this is versus 1.2 lakh diamonds sold to China. So very close to that other very growing market when it comes to diamond sales in the Indian markets in the last couple of years. But with that, that's all the time that we have on this edition of Commodity Champions.